Hi and welcome to the Market Alert for Wednesday, the 22nd of October 2025. Right, let's get stuck in. It's going to be a bit of a long one. What on earth happened to gold today? A few shocking charts from Goldman's commodity desk. The gold chart looked like a meme stock breaking. Well, if we go back to yesterday's Market Alert, I spoke about the potential sell-off in silver. It felt like they were going to repeat what they did in 2021, and boy, did they do it. They did it in style, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at this. Now, this is interesting because this ties in with what I'm going to look at when we get to the metals. Huge internet outage knocks out Amazon, Snapchat, multiple websites, apps, and games. Note Amazon and multiple websites, and they managed to get the service up and running. So that it was either hacked or whatever happened on. Where are we? Wednesday. On Monday, putting all of these sites or taking all of these sites down. So that ties in, but let's just move along first. We'll cover all of this in more detail, as I say, when we get to the metals. Just broader news. US markets finished mixed with price action choppy amid earnings, while precious metals plummeted. They were certainly monkey hammered. Gold suffered its largest percentage decline since 2013 and its biggest absolute value drop on record. Well, it would do, wouldn't it? Because it's over $4,000 an ounce. Again, it's temporary. That's the good news. But what on earth went on? Well, I don't know. I really don't know. But I've got some ideas which we'll look at when we get to the metals. Economic news today. We've got the UK. It's not going to be good news for Rachel from accounts if the inflation rate goes up from 3.8 to 4.0. But anyway, let's move on and have a look at the markets, and then we'll be spending a bit of time on the metals, of course, after what happened yesterday, and which I hate to say, I actually forecast, but I didn't forecast such a big drop. That's the one thing I got wrong, but I know there was something wrong. Based on what had happened on Monday. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So let's have a look at the broader markets, and then spend a bit of time in the metals. Right, that's it for the economic news. So let's move on to the Dow and have a look, see what happened yesterday, which in fact actually made a new all-time high. So in the Dow, despite all of the carnage in the metals yesterday, you can see they're making a new all-time high. We now have 137 for the Dow for yesterday, so a good positive there. It didn't take place until we got to the cash market, where you can see there straight up it was vertical from the open. However, it didn't last long, and then the market's moving down to the DP overnight. Let's have a look at the German DAX. And in the German DAX yesterday, small bar compared to Monday. Overnight prices are currently inside of the range, which is not uncommon, of course. So have a look at the 30-minute chart. We traded down to begin with, and moved down to the DP, and then we traded back up. We had another pullback, and then we went up with the US markets, and then back down with the US markets. Overnight, we're above the DP and the close. Well, we were. It's just trading below that at the moment. In the S&P 500, still clamouring to get to the all-time high of 6765. Yesterday, very quiet, which is odd. I have to say that price action is odd too. And the S&P is traded on the CME as well. You'll see why later. That's a very narrow bar for the CME compared to the previous 2 days there. It's not an overnight price. That's for yesterday. So yeah, weird price action that is, I have to say. But anyway, moving back towards the all-time high in the S&P, there's the 30-minute chart, a lot more choppy than the Dow, which just went vertical. The S&P didn't, and then it's worked its way back, but it's up overnight above the DP and the close, but just making its way back to the 5-bar MA there. Meanwhile, in the UK, and the market is sideways to higher there, stuck at that 50% retracement, needs to break out and get through the 62 in order to move higher. Whether that will be the case today with the inflation numbers, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But inside of the price action yesterday, very, very choppy. It was choppy until we got to Where are we here with the price? 3 p.m. Well, now that's odd as well, isn't it? You see, because the FT at 100 went down and the Dow went up. The S&P went down for a while and then went up, so it's following the S&P there, and then back down, and then just above the DP overnight there. But again, waiting for those inflation numbers, which you can see with the red line there, out at 7 a.m. So in the US dollar, up yesterday, which didn't help the metals, and now reversing overnight and starting to move to the downside a bit. So let's have a look at the metals. And one thing that I wanted to do first was to have a look at the volumes, but something went wrong. Now, going back to the AWS servers, these are servers that Amazon have, where companies can host or use those servers, and the CME actually does actually use the AWS and the Amazon ones. And we saw from the headline that there was an outage, a hack, or whatever you want to call it, on Monday. They were all compromised. However, it does say, if you dig a bit deeper, that the CME group wasn't affected. But I'm doubting that because of the way they were able to play the futures market yesterday. Plus, there is no COT reports at the moment either, which commodity contracts that are actually traded and who's holding positions since the government closed down. None of that data has been collected. And according to Rob Keynes, if you want to see what his opinion is, because he's got the same here, complete chaos erupts in gold and silver markets with shadow takedown. The shadow bit obviously alluding to the fact that there's something wrong with the Amazon servers that could have been used to the CME's favour and the banksters to slam the price of the metals. Because when you actually look across the board, let me just see if I can move this up a bit or down a bit. Let me just move this down because you don't think you can see it. There we go. So used in nearly everything, and off the switch. That's about the demand for the gold and silver. And silver has been outstripping demand supply since 2020, and which obviously was why we're seeing the prices move higher. There's also other gold and silver articles about demand. There's a lot obviously about yesterday as well, but there is a big demand. And in fact, I was watching another YouTube video, which I'll just grab for you, which was fascinating as well, because I was trying to work out what had actually gone on yesterday. So let me just put this one in for you as well. Now this one, there we go. So physical shortage is here. We're seeing it firsthand now. This is SD Bullion, one of the biggest bullion dealers in the US, who yesterday came out and said this just doesn't make any sense, that they've been able to plummet the price of the silver and gold using the futures. But when you look at the AWS situation, it begs the question, and the government COT reports are actually not being published at the moment. It looks like somebody seized the opportunity yesterday to give the silver price a good hiding, and also, of course, the gold price as well. Now, this is a fascinating video as well, because they talk about, obviously, the physical premiums and the demand, and also the shortages. So it's bonkers that yesterday they were able to drop the price using futures contracts by some $3 or $4. But let's just go back to the CME, because as I said here, it says that something went wrong. Again, you might not just be able to see that, so let me just move that over. There you go, you should be able to see it now. Something went wrong. So if I just refresh this page, because I wanted to see the volumes, and the prices were weird yesterday as well, because it was showing the further out months. So we got any volume yet or not? Let's see if it turns. Oh, we've got it now. There we go. So what did we have yesterday to actually send the market down to where it is? So it's actually been updated on the server now. So the website's up and running. We have a volume there of 171,880 contracts. That, if it's correct, of course, seems a bit light for the pummeling that the market actually had. If we do a quick calculation, that's just 859 billion ounces, when there is a shortage according to this website, used in nearly everything with an on and off switch. Global demand for silver has been outstripping supply since 2020. Silver production has fallen about 800 million ounces behind global demand. And yet, yesterday, the prices were pummeled by $4. So let's have a look at the charts for yesterday. So, kicking off with silver, I mean, this is just something special. I've never seen anything like this. I knew they were up to something, as I said in yesterday's alert, and to expect a down move, but never expected it to be this sort of move. We had a high of 52.50, just rounded up, and then we had a low of 47.83. So yeah, you can see how big that move was yesterday. That's a big move. It's over $4.50. So prices overnight are starting to come back, but let's just have a look in a bit more detail. It started mid-morning, and we just had the serious move to the downside, and then it had an afternoon, which was guaranteed, wasn't it, with the LBMA and the opening of the Dow. And again, overnight, I woke at 3 o'clock this morning, couldn't believe it when we'd actually put in a new low for yesterday as well at 47, no, the low was 47.43, down at 47.50 or just thereabouts. Was some buying that's coming in the markets now, moved back to the upside, but this has certainly been overplayed. Whatever the banker's objective was, they certainly achieved it to actually slam the price. Gold also down yesterday, but coming back very quickly. Obviously, the central bank seeing a bit of a bargain here when we've gone from the high of yesterday, which was 4372, down to 4081. So again, 200 plus drop in the price of gold yesterday. So massive shakeout there as well. Longer term, it's a no-brainer at all. Absolutely no-brainer, but they just wanted to take the froth out of the market, and unless the banks were still short, and the best thing to do is to see if we can slam it and reduce some of the losses. But we know there's demand. We know there's still a backwardation, although it's narrowed in the spot and nearby futures. So again, there's something very, very odd. Combined with the AWS servers and all the rest of it, it just makes you think that something was contrived yesterday. I don't want to get into the realms of conspiracy theory. I've been told I'm a conspiracy theorist enough over the years, particularly with where silver is concerned and the manipulation, but was vindicated a few years ago when JP Morgan traders were actually imprisoned and they were fined $990 million for price fixing of the silver market. But the thing is, they could have made so much money yesterday, they can get away with doing it. And when the government shut down, the CTFC shut down at the moment, there's no COT reports. It was open season, wasn't it? Absolutely open season yesterday for them. So we'll see what happens with regards to the recovery. But the bull markets are certainly not over in gold and silver. So let's have a look at the 30-minute gold chart. Again, you can see these where they managed just to come in and just hammer the price down. Again, they did it overnight as well, down to the S1. The buying's come in and the market's now back to the upside, but there's certainly some bargains around. And the premiums on all of the the coins and the like, they've not really dropped a lot at all. Again, if you watch the video with Rob Keynes, this video, he talks about it, and it's just incredible. And also, we go back to here. This is also is spoken of as well in this video about the premiums that are still being paid for on this, because obviously there is a physical shortage of silver. So there we go anyway. Let's move on and have a look at the gold-silver ratio. And no surprise really is there to see this, where the gold-silver ratio has gone parabolic over the last few days. Again, that was a clue yesterday as well, that there was something wrong. And now starting to settle down a bit and move sideways. So we'll see what happens during today. But things should consolidate a bit today. If not, they're going to hammer it as much as they did yesterday, which I think would be a bit unlikely. Personally, it may still move to the downside and break yesterday's low during the trading session and then start to come back. But it's going to take a few days to consolidate what we certainly from the damage of yesterday. Right, so have a quick look at yesterday's trades. So in the German DAX 2 minute, we were negative in the pre-market session in the light grey area there. Then we ended up in a sideways move with a first signal to the downside. The markets then became choppy and then moved back to the upside, or attempted to, but failed. The market was pushed down, and it was around this time that the price of silver started to decline. We had this spike to the downside, and that coincided with the first slam in the silver price as well. They just took advantage of whatever was happening in the US futures on the COMEX exchange, or the CME now. And then into the mid-morning and afternoon with the Dow futures coming on stream. The Dow moving sharply to the upside, but the DAX struggling there and not following suit, trading down below the 200 MA and heading south there for the first part of the session. We then had a potential buy signal that was filled, and then the sort of DAX was playing catch up with the other US markets there, and then continuing to move past the high of Monday and then into a sideways move for the best part of the evening. Let's have a look at the overnight, see where we are. So a bit of weakness around at the moment. Like I say, waiting for the UK CPI numbers to be released at 7 a.m, but a bit of weakness around there at the moment. Let's just pull this so we can see where we are. So yeah, we're at the DP, so equidistant really to both the low and the high there. Just going back to the S&P 500, that price action, now looking at the CME and the outages and everything else, I do wonder whether that was the case. That daily one there, very narrow for yesterday, given what was happening elsewhere. So again, we'll just have to see what. I don't think they'll reveal anything anyway. Obviously, they've just used it to their advantage to smash the price of gold and silver. Anyway, let's see what happens during today. Apologies, it's a bit of a longer one, but a lot happened yesterday. And let's see what happens today. So have a great day. And as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.